Once upon a time, in the heart of Danang, there stood an establishment that promised respite and luxury, a place where the whispers of the sea were to lull one into a serene slumber. This place, known as the Mandila Beach Hotel, became the stage for my most lamentable Talia saga of unmet expectations and the profound sadness that accompanies the loss of what could have been a haven of joy. As I stepped through the grand entrance, my heart fluttered with the anticipation of a weary traveler seeking solace. The room that greeted me was indeed spacious, a cavernous space that echoed with the ghosts of hospitality past. Yet, as I laid my head to rest upon the plush pillows, the specters of discontent began to materialize before my very eyes. The first harbinger of my impending disillusionment was the comportment of the hotel staff, a cadre of individuals who, I soon discovered, were as cold and unyielding as the marble floors upon which they stood. The receptionist, whose smile was but a fleeting shadow, greeted me with a chill that seeped into my bones. When I, with the politeness of a summer breeze, requested a breakfast box to accommodate my early departure, the response I received was akin to a door slammed shut in the face of a beggar. The refusal was not merely a no. It was a resounding echo of neglect that reverberated through the corridors of my expectations. As the days unfurled like the petals of a wilting flower, the hotel's flaws became as apparent as the midday sun. The towel exchange, a simple courtesy one would expect in an establishment of such supposed prestige, unveiled a policy as absurd as it was humiliating. To be asked to relinquish my used towels before receiving fresh ones was to be treated not as a guest, but as a suspect in a crime I had not committed. The implication of mistrust was a cold dagger to the heart of my faith in the hotel's hospitality. The room itself, a space that should have been my sanctuary, revealed its own collection of woes. The charging ports, dormant sentinels of modern convenience, lay as useless as the promises of a silver-tongued charlatan. In the stillness of the night, the blue lights of progress mocked me, stubbornly adorning the switches and ceiling, casting an eerie glow upon my restless form. The air conditioning, a temperamental beast, defied my every command, leaving me in a tropical sauna when all I craved was the cool embrace of relief. The cacophony of the beach bar, an entity unto itself, became the relentless siren song that serenaded my sleepless nights. The pulsating rhythms, unrelenting until the wee hours of the morn, were a cruel reminder that peace was but a distant dream in this so-called beachfront retreat. The irony was as sharp as a thorn, for the beach, the very essence of this coastal haven, lay just beyond my reach, a treacherous journey for the weary and the hopeful. As my stay drew to a close, the final act of this tragicomedy unfolded with the subtlety of a thunderclap. An extra charge, as unexpected as a winter frost, was levied upon my departure for a hand towel deemed very dirty. This parting shot, a sting that lingered long after I had left the premises, was a testament to the hotel's lack of grace and understanding. In the end, the Mandila Beach Hotel Danang, with its spacious rooms and lofty promises, stood as a monument to disappointment, a place where the whispers of the sea were drowned out by the cries of dissatisfaction. It was a reminder that sometimes, the most profound sadness comes not from grand tragedies, but from the tiny cracks in the facade of what was supposed to be a perfect escape. And so, dear listener, as I lay down my tale, heavy with the weight of unfulfilled longing.
Businesses near the Mandila Beach Hotel Danang feel like a practical joke. The city plays on anyone who arrives with an appetite and a beating heart. I stepped out of the lobby expecting the usual tourist buffet of sun-kissed cafes and smiling aunties. What I found instead was a parade of wallets being asked to surrender at knife point. Only the knives are plastic and the robbers wear name tags. The entire neighborhood greets you with the warmth of a tax audit and leaves you wondering if your stomach lining will ever forgive you. Let me walk you through the scene, because you deserve to know why your holiday budget might end up in intensive care. Restaurants here share one sacred ritual: they look you in the eye, decide you are foreign, and quietly add invisible zeros to the bill. At Barnes Ziobadi letter 1B0 letter 1E1, NG, the ritual is perfected into art. The place is famous, Michelin recommended, and about as hygienic as a subway handrail. Pancakes arrive thick, soggy, and carrying more oil than a tanker spill. Shrimp still wear their helmets and boots as if they might march off the plate. Rice paper comes decorated with dead flies, and what might be spider eggs the chef apparently believes garnish means whatever crawled across the counter. Staff yell orders like prison guards, slam food down as though you are interrupting their nap. And if you dare question the arithmetic on the bill, they stare through you as if you are a ghost who owes rent. One cashier held banknotes in the same hand she used to plate spring rolls. Money touched lettuce, lettuce touched mouth, mouth touched regret. The seating system is a masterpiece of social Darwinism. Locals who grew up on these pancakes now return from 30 years abroad, queue politely, then watch in silence while tourists who arrived later are escorted past them by a manager who pretends the queue is invisible. Twice the family in front of me was seated, twice Korean tourists pointed at their table, and the manager simply evaporated them back into the sunlight. By the time food lands, you are too demoralized to taste it. You chew disappointment and pay for the privilege. If you think escaping to fine dining will save you, allow me to introduce Anand Saigon, the neighborhood's Michelin-starred practical joke. The restaurant sits in a wet market alley that smells of rat tail and despair. Inside, tables are squeezed so tightly that every chair becomes a communal bench. Strangers breathe into your soup, and the back of your seat doubles as a service corridor. Somewhere between the second course and the third existential crisis, you realize the star on the door is less a culinary honor and more a warning label. Oysters arrive lukewarm, as if the kitchen confused chilled with childhood fever. Lamb carries the perfume of old gym towel. Wagyu tastes like it walked to Danang from Tokyo and forgot to shower. Plates show up with fingerprints and the occasional hair, souvenirs from a dishwasher who clearly moonlights as a magician. Staff shout introductions across the table. This is fish sauce ice cream. Please pretend you are excited. So loudly you flinch into your spoon. When the bill lands, you discover that two people have spent $350 American on what feels like a practical joke designed by someone who hates joy. You could have flown to Bangkok, eaten 3 proper Michelin meals, and still had change for a foot massage, but instead you financed a teacup full of foam that tasted like regret. The pattern repeats until it feels like choreography. Every cafe, every bistro, every neon-lit grill near the hotel subscribes to the same manifesto: charge premium, deliver less, apologize never. Staff are trained in the ancient art of looking busy while achieving nothing. Water requests evaporate, eye contact is rationed, and the moment your fork pauses they materialize only to ask if you are finished so they can stack your plate mid-chew.
Hygiene is a rumor you hear other tourists discuss wistfully, like a mythical beach without plastic. Flies hold union meetings on the rim of your glass, ants march across noodles as if rehearsing for a parade, and at least one reviewer found a beetle doing backstroke in the dipping sauce. You begin to suspect the entire neighborhood attended the same seminar titled, How to Convert Hunger into Resignation. By the third night, you no longer walk into venues hoping for flavor, you walk in hoping to escape without food poisoning or bankruptcy. You study menus the way a forensic accountant studies fraud, searching for the hidden comma that turns 60,000 dong into 600,000. You smile at waiters the way hostages smile at captors.
Script businesses near Mandila Beach Hotel Da Nang are like this: some will smile while taking your money, you know. Like, one tourist bought a handmade silk scarf from a shop 2 streets behind the hotel. The seller swore it was real, but when the tourist washed it, the colors bled like a sad watercolor painting. What happened next? The tourist probably cried a little, then shoved it in their suitcase as a souvenir of betrayal. The shop, still there, probably selling the same handmade scarves to the next heartbroken visitor. Businesses near Mandila Beach Hotel Da Nang are like this: some will tell you the price is one thing, then change it when you hand over cash. A man bought sunglasses from a stall near the beach. The seller said 100,000 dong, but when he gave a 500,000 note, suddenly the price was 500,000. He argued, but the seller just shrugged, like, oops, my mistake, or was it? The man probably walked away feeling stupid, while the seller laughed with his friends later. Businesses near Mandila Beach Hotel Da Nang are like this: some will swap your real money for fake ones. A woman paid for coconut water with a 200,000 dong bill, but the vendor pretended to drop it, then switched it with a fake. When she noticed, he acted shocked, like, you gave me this. She probably stood there, blinking, wondering if she was going crazy. The vendor, probably still out there, practicing his magic tricks on other tourists. Businesses near Mandila Beach Hotel Da Nang are like this: some will sell you fruit by weight, but the scale is rigged. A couple bought mangoes. The seller said 1 kilo, but when they checked later, it was barely half. They probably sighed, ate the mangoes anyway, and vowed never to trust a smiling fruit seller again. The seller, still weighing fruit with his special scale, probably. Businesses near Mandila Beach Hotel Danang are like this. Some will offer you a free bracelet, then demand money after tying it on your wrist. A girl let an old woman put a woven thread on her, then suddenly you must pay for luck. She panicked, handed over cash just to escape. She probably walked away feeling like a fool while the old woman moved on to her next victim. And that is how it is near Mandila Beach Hotel Danang. Smiles, scams, and souvenirs of regret.